Okay, so here we go. I'm actually recording this a bit early because I wanted to make sure I got this done in a decent time, so it may be a little inaccurate by the time it comes out, but probably not too much of a difference. It's about a month before I'm actually announcing it, but I'm just going to do it now to make sure I actually do it and get it done in time. This is gonna be a more serious video just because a lot of things to talk about that aren't necessarily lighthearted and stuff and whatnot. It sounds bad. It is. We'll get into it. This is unscripted. I have some basic notes on a notepad in front of me, but that's it. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. Currently I'm at like a minute or so, so we'll just go from here. So I'm gonna start off first. I'm not just gonna start off saying what it is, because then no one really will watch past that. But also I kind of want to go into the reasoning first behind why I've been doing things the way I've been doing things, because I feel it's just as important, if not more important almost. But that'll make more sense. And then after that, I'll talk about my project and where I'm at, where it's been, and answer some questions that I know I will probably get. So this all started, well, what started me going to work on this project was about 3 years ago-ish. I don't know the exact timing, but there was a guy that came to our church, and he preached a message. I can't remember exactly what it was on, but something along the lines of how he had gone off and started some venture, some business or something, and how he was just encouraging people there to work on those sorts of things that you've been putting off for so long and whatnot. And I was like, I kind of just feel I'm also not going to do a lot of editing on this, so you're going to hear the bumbling and mumbling that I usually cut out of my videos, which there's a lot of. Anyway, I just kind of heard a voice in my head saying, "Hey, Seth, you should go work on that project. You should work on that project you've been putting off." And I was like, "Okay, God, that's yeah, sure. Here, I think I'll do a little bit of that." And so I think I probably started that, like did a thing or two here and there, and then just kind of stopped after a while. And then a few months later, something else would come up, and I'd hear God saying, just like, "Hey, you should," and usually be almost always in a church setting, and I just feel like, hey, you should work on that. And I was like, okay, maybe. Like one time it was, we wanted to do more things with radio, I think it was, and it got mentioned at a Bible study I go to, and I was like, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for you to start working on this. I'm like, okay, yeah, and I look into it a little bit and get a little excited, and then just fall out with it again. And this happened for 2 years, and it was in the middle of, I think it was like a couple months before I stopped with my food project, where I was cooking myself a new thing every week, that I finally just got fed up. I'm like, okay, God, fine, I get it. I get what you're saying. I'll do it. I'll finish up with my food project, and I'll do that instead. Okay, fine, I'll do it. And he stopped bugging me after that. And so I finished up with my 1 recipe a week project, and I started working. And that's been the last year of my life. So that kind of gets to the first question. Why am I working on this? I don't know. I really don't know. Granted, this is something I've been wanting to work on for a long time, because every time I could feel God calling me to work on it, I'd get excited, like, oh yeah, that sounds really fun, and then just fall out. And it's never something that I didn't want to do, it's just that I never ended up doing much with it. But why am I working on this now? Why was it finally this time that it was time to just start working on it? I don't know. Right now I'm just trying to work on it. And when I'm finished or in a position where it's ready to move on to the next step, hopefully God will do the same thing and just show me where to go next. But right now I don't know. I have some ideas though, and I'll kind of get into them as I'm going on. For next question, why have I been keeping this a secret? Well, the first is kind of just a more of a lame answer, but there's the idea that when you're working on something, one of the worst things you can actually do is tell someone about it. Because when you do that, it's almost like finishing it, and therefore you are less likely to actually work on it. And so, yeah, I've just been kind of, that's been part of the reason. It may have not been a starting reason, but it was a good reason to keep it secret. And also, this kind of was the thing at first, but in keeping it a secret, I had to actually have something this day today. Well, not today, but the day I'm releasing this video. And because I never actually expected anyone to care, to be completely and totally honest. So the first time someone said, like, Seth, what's your project? What are you working on? I was like, okay, now I've got some motivation because now people are going to want to know. And so yeah, that's kind of what was my driving factor for a long time. And things kind of got added on that as time went though, because one thing like I mentioned, I don't know why I'm working on this necessarily, and I didn't feel like having a year-long's worth of questions just thrown at me every time someone figures out about my project, because there's lots of questions that I have about my project that I don't know the answer to. I was hoping by now I'd know the answer to some, but I don't. And on the note of things being a secret, one thing that got me thinking maybe about a month or two ago is, why didn't anybody guess right? Because to be perfectly honest, this should have been obvious. This should have been very obvious. I may have only been working on it like this for a year, but this is not a new project at all. I mean, this might actually give it away, but as of January 1st, 2018, I'll have been on and off working on this for 8 years. Yet, there's only one person through the entire time who actually guessed it correctly. And I'm not even sure that person knows, because they guessed it and they didn't press further. And I'm not sure if that's because they thought, no, that's not it, or they realized they were right and had the decency to not blurt it out. And funny enough, that is a person who knows me fairly well, and no one else has figured it out. And this kind of brought me to a question a while back that really kind of, it's the reason this is a little bit of a serious video, because it's a hard question I had to ask myself, which is, why don't my own friends know me? Why don't they know the thing that I have been in at times really passionate about? One of the guys who's been helping me one time, actually, him and my little brother both actually, I'll start talking about this and I will just start gushing and just getting really excited and everything. And why don't I show more people that side of me? And I think when you get down to it, to get to that is, I'm not blaming my friends. I don't blame any of my friends for this, because it's definitely me. Because when you get down to it, it's really hard to be vulnerable with people. And that's kind of one of the things I'm wondering if that's the reason why I'm working on this. Because this is something that is forcing me to be vulnerable. And it's not something I like. I mean, heck, I'm about to release this part of the puzzle tomorrow morning. This was this took a long time to draw. And it's the reason why I'm recording this. And right now it's like 10 o'clock at night. And it's probably the same reason why the other things I've posted have been cryptic and stuff like that. Why I have this notebook right here that is full of writing in my own alphabet. Because it's hard to be vulnerable, and there's things about me that I don't like people to know. Yeah, I don't... I feel like in some ways my own friends don't know me because I almost don't want them to. Which is... yeah, like I said, serious video. And that's just been something that's been on my mind for the past few months, weeks, I'm not sure at this point. And it's been not fun, but I hope this is kind of my chance to start working on that. And on that note, 12 minutes into this video, what am I working on? Well, it's right there. Well, part of it's right there. I've been working on a book. A story, more specifically. This right here is manuscript that my friend David read. Parts 1 and 2, version 1. He still has version 3. This right here is 95 pages. And what he has is around another 50. Because he's been nice and not letting his wife see him work on it so I could keep it a secret. Thank you, David. And yeah, sorry, I'm moving around. Currently, so I guess I should stick to my somewhat script. So yeah, I've been working on a book. So let's go now for the other questions that I'm bound to get. The first one being, what were all the graphs? Well, word count. That's why sometimes it went up, sometimes I don't know if it ever actually went down, but there were some weeks where I think it did. And currently, let me pull up my Word document because I don't remember. Currently, I'm at 51,374 words. And that's like not anywhere near where it's going to be. But we'll get to that later, actually. I'll talk about that when I'm talking about when is it going to be done. What about the video that I uploaded months ago at this point? That was just, well, there were a lot of things in there, and I'll probably make another video explaining all of those things at some point. Most of them were just hints at different plot points and locations and whatnot, kind of hinting at what the story's about. Some of those I don't want to talk about. Some of them are kind of very spoilery, so maybe I actually won't make a video explaining everything about that, just because I don't want to ruin the story. Yeah, so next, the puzzle that this is a part of, that is actually linking, when you break it down past the puzzle, past the riddle, it links to an anchor station that I have been updating since I've been putting semi-regular updates on for the past few weeks, just talking about general progress and where I'm at, where things have been going, answering some of these questions. And that's actually where I'm going to be posting progress after this. just because it's easier. I mean, part of the reason, actually, I'll explain that the graphs stopped after a while and I did the puzzle instead is because right now, I'll just answer this question of where I'm at now. Right now, I'm going through all the edits in Red Pen for this copy. I've already read Pete's copy, and I'm just marking up, checking things, seeing what's good and what's bad, and word counts really don't get updated when you're doing that, so yeah. So I decided to do the puzzle because I can't really update a word count when I'm not actually doing any writing. I'm hoping by the time this video is released, I will be done with the editing of both this manuscript and part 3, but I don't know. I'll be posting more regular updates once this video is out, so we'll see. Okay, so now the question of what is this book actually about? And that's the reason I actually covered. There's a reason I cut out part of the video probably because I may have accidentally shown some of it. And the thing is, I don't want to talk about the plot yet. Just because it's hard to talk about the plot without ruining it. But I do kind of want to talk about some of the themes. So yesterday, some of my friends dragged me up to hike up at Bogus Basin. And I'm still hurting from it, actually. But one thing that was kind of funny is they were talking about how asking people, do you think of yourself as an average person? And I just couldn't help but laugh because that's kind of what it's about. It's about people who see themselves as average and end up actually having a major effect in the world around them. And that's all I really want to say about it right now. But hopefully someday, we'll get there when we get there. So now, actually on that note, next question is, when is this going to be done? And I kind of already answered this question, but I have no clue. I don't have a single clue. Part of the reason is because even though I do have part of this manuscript right here, I actually have the full first version of the manuscript done. But the thing is, that doesn't mean it's actually anywhere close to done. One thing I did is I had a friend from college, Ryan, gave me the idea of, told me about the idea of the snowflake method, where you start off with, I think it was you start off with an outline, you turn each outline into a sentence, each sentence into a paragraph, and each paragraph into a page and something like that. So you build up slowly. And that's what I did. I started off with just pure outline, and I turned all the outline section into summaries, and then I turned the summaries into the actual writing, like I was actually writing for the book instead of just talking about what happens in the plot. And the thing is, parts 1 and 2, I'm not sure exactly, but they may be about 50-50 between plot and just summaries. But part 3 is almost essentially all summary because I wanted to get it out to Pete and David to make sure that they could actually read it, and so I could start getting some feedback, which is good because I've actually gotten some really great feedback already. And because of that, the plan right now is just to get the basic plot hammered down, get the basic beats down, but I don't know how long it's going to take to turn those summarized sections into non-summarized sections, because it's right, like I mentioned, it's right now at like 51,000 words, but taking all the summarized sections and turning into actual written out sections that are fleshed out and everything, I could see it getting to 70,000 if not more. And it took me a few months just to get up to 50,000, because this isn't something that's easy to do. I mean, I think I mentioned this in the last update video I did, But I usually only work on this on Saturdays because this is sometimes almost like a part-time job, just because it takes a while to do some things. Usually, I mean, I wasn't joking in the video when I posted about how it was like the stages of grief, but for working on my project, because there's other times where I'll sit there staring at the screen saying, I have no clue what I'm supposed to be writing right now. And literally something would just pop in my head, and then 1,000 words would come. Oh yeah, I should mention that actually. So in the original graph, there were two lines, an upper goal and a lower goal. The lower goal was 30,000 words, and the upper goal was 50,000. At least it was intended to be 50,000. It was actually 52,000, which means I'm technically like a couple hundred words short, but who cares at this point? I've reached a point where I know I'm going to be above that, and I've reached a point where I'm glad where I am. So yeah, it ended up being 300 to 1,000 words per week, and I would be good. And if I had kept writing, I would have done that, but I wanted to get some editing done. And so yeah, I would literally be sitting there, nothing. Then out would pop 1,000 words that literally I'm like, well, this wasn't even in the outline. There was one time, it was literally perfect example of this. There was one time I was sitting there, not sure what to do, not sure where to go next, and I was like, maybe they should start doing the dishes. And that led to like 2 weeks worth of stuff that I'd literally not planned, and actually ended up being extremely metaphorical, and just it is one of my favorite sections in the book actually right now. And I just finished it. I'm like, that was cool, God. You should do that again. And he has. There's been times where I'd be sitting there, random thing would pop in my head, and I was like, cool, that was not something I had planned at all. So yeah, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I'm guessing maybe another year. And even then, I don't know what state it'll be in that point, because I'm imagine the plan right now is just to get this first manuscript edited, and then to just go chapter by chapter, getting them worked on, and maybe even releasing chapter 1 just for free. Just release it or do something with it. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not sure. Next question is just about people wanting to help. So right now I have my two friends, Pete and David, helping. I spitball ideas with my little brother, but I might let 1 or 2 more people help, but even then I'm not sure. But the main thing is, if you want to help, don't ask, because probably the answer will be no. But if I want you to help, I'll ask. So don't ask me, I'll ask you, pretty much. Yeah, I'll ask you if I want you to help. Oh, and then I have on here again, when will it be done? And like I said, I don't know. I'm just trying. I don't know when it's going to be done. I just want it to be done. I mean, I don't want it to be. Well, I do want it to be done. I'm trying to finish and see where with this goes next. I guess that's the next question. What's next for this? I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm working on this. Am I working on this to release and get published? I don't know. Am I supposed to release it for free? I don't know. Am I supposed to keep working on this after I'm done? I don't know. I mean, this is the first of a lot of stories I have in my head. There's a lot of them up there. So it would be cool if I got to keep working on these, but I don't know. So yeah, I suspected this may be close to a half hour, and 25 minutes. Yeah, it's pretty long. If things go how I think they're going to go, of this week, because this is going to be releasing Thanksgiving weekend, I'm going to be taking that entire week of work off, just to not be around internet, not have to think about this sort of stuff for a while, and maybe just have some quiet time. So yeah, if you have questions I didn't answer, I may or may not answer them, to be completely and totally honest. And if you ask a question I already answered, I'm not going to even bother. So, yeah. Anyway, for those people who have supported me throughout this last year or have shown vague interest in my project, thank you, because you are the people who have kept me motivated, because it's been difficult. It's been a long year, and it's not even done yet. I honestly thought I would be done. I thought a year would be all it would take, because, like I said, I started working on this 8 years ago. There is a version of it online somewhere, and I'm not going to say where because it's awful. It's bad, and I don't want people to read it because it's very bad. It's also not representative of it. It's not representative at all of what it looks like now. The plot has essentially been gutted, and some of the main beats have still been taken. If you had read the original and you would read this, then you would see that the main plot points have stuck. They've stayed, but oh my gosh, so much has changed. There's no longer multiple timelines. Because that was a dumb idea. It wasn't my idea, but I did it anyway. Anyway, it's like 10:15-ish, and I work in the morning, so yeah, that's my project. If you're disappointed in it, sucks for you, because this has been really important to me, and I hope I get to talk to you about it more someday, but right now, I'm just gonna go to bed.